Welcome back to my channel, guys. Today we are going to be doing a video on ways to save money while you're traveling, and that's going to be any tip that I can think of that I think helped me save some money while I was traveling. So let's just get right into the list. Also, if you guys don't know me, I am Christina. I've been backpacking for around 2.5 months. I actually just got back from my trip, so I have learned quite a lot while I've been backpacking, and I did do around Western Europe using the URL. So that's just a little bit about me, just in case you don't know me, but let's get into the list. Alright, so the first one is a pretty simple one, but buy groceries. Don't always eat out. So if you're going to be staying in a hostel, oftentimes they have a little kitchen area, or Airbnbs often do, or hotels have a little kitchenette. So buy something that you can eat when you're really hungry late at night or in the middle of the day. If you don't want to spend extra money, you can just buy bulk groceries like bananas, eggs, things like that are super cheap, and just eat those instead of going out to eat, because of course that's going to be more expensive. So that's just a really easy one that you can do, is just carry around protein snacks or little snacks that are going to help satisfy your hunger, so you're not always starving. Which, speaking of, fun fact, actually I just got back and I weighed myself. I lost 7 pounds while backpacking. That's how much I was walking, climbing, exercising, and not eating. So 7 pounds, that's quite a lot on my frame, because I'm usually I'm pretty small of a person. So, but just keep that in mind. You might actually lose weight instead of gain it, unlike you might think. Number 2, and this is something that you guys might not know about, but look for free things. So free walking tours are a thing, or days where the museum is free. So maybe, for example, there's a museum you really want to go to in a certain country. Well, look up if they have a certain day that they're free, because a lot of museums do have a certain day of the month or a day of the week that is oftentimes free. So maybe you can just plan your travels around that day. For example, if you want to go to a famous museum in Spain and it says that their free museum day is on a Wednesday, you can stay an extra day in the country before to accommodate for being there on a Wednesday, if that makes sense. And there's a lot of free activities that you can do, like walking tours, and you honestly can even ask locals for things. They would know better than anyone for all the free activities. But basically just make use of not paying for things, because there are ways to not do that, like free museum days or beaches or things that you wouldn't have to spend money on. Number 3, and I think this is one of the most important ones, is keep track of your money. So it's really hard to not spend a lot of money if you don't know how much you're spending, because you might be like, oh, I don't think I spent that much that day, or this past week I don't think I've spent that much. But in reality, if you literally look at your finances, you've spent double what you think, or $100 more than you should have a certain day, or something like that. So keep track of your finances. I personally just use an Excel spreadsheet, and I would just go through, and once a week I would go through and put everything in there just to make sure that I'm staying on track. And if I was a little expensive that week, and maybe the next week I wouldn't want to spend any money on any activities or drinks or anything like that, and if I was under, I could be like, oh, well, this week I can do something more expensive if I wanted to. So keep track, because you're definitely bound to spend way too much if you're just not thinking about finances at all. Number 4 is, I did have the URL, but if the URL doesn't include certain buses and everything like that, so what I did instead is just walk everywhere. So walking will save you a ton of money, because most buses are between €1 to €2 for a ride, but say you're going somewhere 3 times a day, that's €3 a day, and that will add up over the period of you going places, as well as taxis and Ubers. Those are clearly way more expensive. So just walk everywhere would be my advice. In Europe, most of the time you can get away with it, and maybe it'll be a 35-40 minute walk, but it's going to be worth it at the end of the day, because you get to spend those $50 you didn't spend on taxis and everything like that on something that you would much prefer to, like an activity you want to do or going out or something like that. So walk everywhere. It's actually funny, because my average steps before I went to Europe was around like 5,000 or 6,000. Don't judge me, I wasn't walking that much. We drive here in Florida. But once I went to Europe, my average steps per day was like 12 to 13,000, with like some days being 26,000 steps, 27,000. Like, I was walking so much, which is probably why I lost so much weight, but helped save me a lot of money. Number 5, whenever you are looking for places to stay, whether that's a hostel, Airbnb, or hotel, make sure you look at budget websites. So anything like Hopper is really good to look at. So just look at websites that are cheaper than regular. Also, something that I do suggest is always check on the hotel, Airbnb's, hostels' actual website, because sometimes, very few times, the actual website was cheaper than even the budget websites. So definitely just look around. Typically what I would do is I would pull up like 4 different tabs in a window, and I would look up on Hopper, I would look on Airbnb, I would look just regularly on the internet, and then I would look through my credit card portal. So if you do have a credit card that's good for travel, guys, I definitely recommend looking into that if you can possibly get one before going abroad, because you can accumulate points just from spending on your everyday life. And this is not an ad, by the way, this is just me trying to be honest about how we got cheaper things. And using that credit card portal, a hotel that might be $80 is now $60 or anything like that. So I would just pull up every single one on a different tab, and I would compare the prices of everything. And that's the way that we always got the cheapest, nicest place, because we would always compare like all different 4 websites. So Hopper, the internet, Airbnb, and through the credit card portal, and that always got us the cheapest thing. So if you can do that when looking for a place to stay, I would definitely suggest it. It will save you a ton of money. Also, if you guys want me to make a video about credit cards that are good for travel for beginners, I'm not some sort of a credit expert, okay, but I do and have learned a lot about credit cards just in the past few months. So if you guys wanted me to make a video about that, the best ones for travel or anything like that, just let me know down below and I'll do that. Next tip is pack the things that you need and don't waste money on things that you don't. So I did make a what's in my bag video, and I'll link it up here. That is probably one of my favorite videos on my channel, because I think I packed so well. I was barely missing things. I honestly wouldn't change a lot about the way that I packed. But make sure you do your research about what things you need to bring, what things you don't need to bring, what things are super important. And that way you won't actually have to spend money when you're abroad buying things that you need that you didn't realize that you needed. Something, for example, that I think people make the huge mistake on, and I actually made this mistake, is buying small like travel size things, like a travel size toothpaste, a travel size hairbrush, a travel size shampoo, a travel size conditioner. I do not recommend getting travel size stuff if you're going for as long as I went, so like for 2 months or above. Even a month, I still don't recommend it, because what happens is when I was buying all those things, I probably spent like $60-$70 just on little versions of everything. So like I said, toothpaste, shampoo, conditioner, like sunscreen, all those kind of things. I bought like little versions of them, and what happens is that little toothpaste or that little shampoo lasts a week, and then you have to buy something new. So I spent like $70 buying little things that lasted so little and took up so much space in my backpack. So instead, what I recommend you do is you just go without those things. So what I recommend you do is when you get there, you stop at a store, whether that's a pharmacy or a grocery store or something like that, and buy all the things that you need in normal size. So buy a regular size toothpaste, buy a regular size shampoo, obviously if you can fit it or not, but buy regular size things, because that regular size toothpaste is going to last you a month and a half, whereas if you buy like 17 little small ones, it's going to be way more expensive. You're constantly going to have to go buy new ones, and it's not going to last anyways. So it's just been a pain. So that is a huge way to save money. It's just don't buy those things before you go. Once you get there, just buy big versions of those things. The last tip I have for you guys today is bring a reusable water bottle. And the reason I say that is because water oftentimes in Europe, most of the time honestly, is not free. And so when you go to restaurants, you're paying €1, honestly even up to like 4 or 5 euros. I've paid like 4 euros for a bottle at a restaurant. Absolutely ridiculous. So water is not free absolutely anywhere you go, and if you're going to be hiking, walking, eating at restaurants, it will save you so much money if you just have a reusable water bottle that you fill up in the sink at your hostel, at your Airbnb, whatever it is, and you just bring that into restaurants and everywhere you go, parks, hiking, absolutely everything like that, because water will get expensive and you obviously need to be drinking water. So if you just have a water bottle attached to your backpack or your day bag and just bring that everywhere, you will save tons of money, and I cannot emphasize that enough. That is probably one of the most important things to bring, because it will save you money, whereas everything else might just be useful. A water bottle is like so necessary. I don't think I would have survived without having a water bottle, and I probably would have honestly spent like $300 more, just because it was €3 for a water bottle, €2, €1, €4 and over every single day, multiple times a day, that adds up to a lot of money. So definitely bring your reusable water bottle. That is it for today's tips on how to save money. If you guys have any questions for me below or want me to do any type of video, just suggest down in the comments. I do take all your suggestions, put them in a list, and make them into videos. So if you guys have anything, just let me know down below. If you want to like this video, I would really appreciate it. If you want to subscribe, I would be so happy. I would be ecstatic, and I would appreciate it so much. So thank you in advance for anyone that does, and I will see you on my next video.